Stocks in Asia were mixed on Wednesday as investors awaited the U.S. Federal Reserve's interest rate decision. The Chinese Shanghai Composite gained 0.25% to 2,985.66. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index was marginally higher and closed nearly flat. The Nikkei 225 in Japan slipped 0.18% on the day to 21,960.71. South Korea's Kospi ended its trading day 0.41% higher. The official report showed that Japan's exports fell 8.2% year-on-year in August, less than expectations of a 10.9% decrease. In Europe, stocks closed slightly higher as investors kept a cautious tone ahead of an expected U.S. interest rate cut. The Pan-European Stoxx 600 closed provisionally up around 0.1%. As for the data, prices of goods and services paid by consumers in Britain rose at an annual rate of 1.7% in August, after a 2.1% increase in the previous month. It was the slowest rate of expansion since December of 2016. U.S. stocks ended flat to higher after the Federal Reserve announced a cut in its benchmark federal funds rate 0.25 percentage points in line with market expectations. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 0.1% to 27,147. The S&P 500 added 0.1% to 3,006.73. The Nasdaq lost 0.1% to close at 8,177.39. At the same time, the Fed's accompanying statement and economic projections called into question whether there will be another rate cut this year. In particular, the policymaker said that, start quotes, sustained expansion of economic activity, strong labor market conditions, and inflation near the committee's symmetric 2% objective are the most likely outcomes, end quote. The press conference by Chairman Jerome Powell helped equities to pare their losses as he talked up the strength of the U.S. economy and noted that the central bank may need to expand its balance sheet to combat a liquidity shortage. The dollar rose across the board after the Fed's decision at Kansas City Fed President Esther George and Boston Fed President Eric Rosengren voted against a rate cut, and Powell delivered a positive assessment of the country's economy, while a 25 basis point rate cut was priced in by the markets. Against this backdrop, the euro-US dollar slipped to daily lows marginally above the 1.10 figure and makes recovery attempts early on Thursday. The GBP USD showed a limited negative reaction to the FOMC decision and stayed firmly above 1.24, while the USD Japanese yen jumped to early August highs around 108.50. Today, the USD Japanese yen retreats rather aggressively, with prices dipping below the 100 DMA after the Bank of Japan kept key policy tools unchanged and offered little surprises to the markets. The central bank reiterated that extremely low rates will remain for a prolonged period, at least through the spring of 2020, and expressed readiness to add more stimulus if required. Meanwhile, Brent crude struggles for direction between the key daily moving averages. The prices have settled below the $60 figure and remain under the selling pressure as traders continue to unwind long positions amid a recovery in the Saudi Arabian oil production. Also, the EIA report showed that the crude inventories rose 1.1 million barrels last week. The agency also reported an estimated 800,000 barrel increase in gasoline stockpiles and a 400,000 barrel rise in distillate fuel inventories. At the same time, as Trump threatens to impose additional sanctions on Iran and the geopolitical tensions in the Middle East remaining elevated, the downside risks for Brent are limited at this stage, as prices will likely remain above the $62 figure in the short term. That is all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and please click subscribe to always be in touch with the latest market news.